Welcome, everyone. It's Tuesday night, and it's show and share night. It's a great night of the week. We have lots of projects on the list to share. I want to welcome up John for a stand mixer adapter. Oh, it's looking nice.
All right, so I have a quick pre-project thing to share that I thought was kind of cool. I was rummaging through a guy's stuff that he was getting rid of because his mother had died and he was selling the house, and I picked up a box, mostly just for the box, because every now and again you come across a cool box for projects. And about 3 months later I opened it up and I found these inside. There's about 8 of them, or 4 sets. Does anybody have any idea what these are? Yeah. Who said rooster spurs? Yep. So this was for cockfighting to make your roosters more deadly. Yeah. I had to post it on Reddit. I had no idea. I thought it was something for sewing leather, but yeah, I found 8 of these, so pretty crazy. And these go these things have been made for like 200 years. And from the box, it looked like they had been in use within like the last 50. So anyways, main project. For those who have used stand mixers before, I'm kind of new to them. So this was given to me by my folks. I thought it was a KitchenAid. Turns out it's the cheap Walmart brand Farberware. And I had come across a YouTube video on like a noodle attachment. Because I'd always wanted to make noodles from scratch. And so there's like a series of attachments you plug into the nose, and it like flattens out the dough, and then it goes through and you can make like spaghetti or fettuccine. And so inside here is a nose adapter, or a socket, right? So this part is universal fits all the KitchenAid stuff, but for some reason they changed this to a really strange socket size. It ends up being like 7.5 millimeter, which was really inconvenient. So I got really pissed off that they would do something so silly, and I decided to design my own adapter. So I went through a couple iterations, and is anybody here familiar with Craft Cloud? No? Oh, Craft Cloud's a fantastic resource if you don't have the 3D printer that you want. So this is SLS nylon, so it's printed using an SLS. For those who are familiar, if they're not, it's like a powdered laser deposition type deal. Very sturdy, comes out with a really rough surface. On my final product, I went for a resin, which is a lot smoother, but I found that the surface kind of got marred. It's really hard to see, but wasn't exactly what I was going for. But anyway, so I'm able to take this and put it in here, and then, let's see. Yep. Attach this, and I can use my noodle machine. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll probably put this on Hackaday at some point for all the people who decide to buy the cheapo version and don't want to pay for the $400 kitchenware stand. Yeah, I feel like I had some other things I was going to say, but that's good enough.
So, did you design that and send it to this place for them to print? Is that how that works?
Yeah, so Craft Cloud, you can send all these like little like I use SolidWorks for work, so I use SolidWorks on my home computer, and you design something and you send it off to them, and they give you like a whole list of materials and pricing, and then you select the material, like, you know, based on the properties and the price. Then you go and select like finish. Like, for instance, I probably could have paid extra for this to have a smooth finish, but I didn't. This is the one I paid a little extra for a different material to have a smooth finish, because I kind of wanted like the last one to actually look professional. And of course, you know, I spent way more money building the adapter than I would have probably just buying an used KitchenAid off of Marketplace. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, so it's a great website, and then like you can also sort by like, and then at the end it shows you all the vendors, like it's, you know, China, Germany, United States, and it shows shipping times. And like for work, we've used it a couple times and getting stuff like within a week from China. It's awesome. Like, highly recommend checking out Craft Cloud. So, any other questions? Yes. Yeah, this one's it's called a rigid resin. I did notice that it's like, what's the word, where it can gouge pretty easily. Well, anyways, it can seems to gouge relatively easily, like, but it's very sturdy. Like, I think you could use this for a functional part. The nylon, kind of similar, but I mean, I've 3D printed metal from China. It's expensive, but you can do it. And there's like a whole mess of materials you can select from with different properties. Yeah, definitely check it out. But, yep. I think I accidentally turned this thing off. I'll let someone else fix that. Anyways, thank you.
I think that should get us going again. That's great. Gee, you know, we have printers here. If you remember, you can maybe...
Yeah, I was just busy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's that too. A lot of people are busy with time. But I suspect that Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man are pretty powerful. And I think Andrew is going to come tell us what is more powerful than those three superheroes.
So I didn't know exactly what to call this thing, so I just went ahead and just called it more powerful than Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. So that's what I named it, and it's a combination of 3D printing, Raspberry Pi, and Legos. As you may or may not remember, I had Pictosaurus. He's now extinct. My 3D printer is back online, and my nephew helped me repair it. And I think a real distinctive part about this is the fact that I made it Lego compatible. As you can see down here, I just got the patterns from Thingiverse, and I just kind of adapted it to my needs, and it works out really well. And so now I have the ability to have variable length stands on my 3D printed object just with Legos. And so I think it's really a good use case for what I'm up to. And you know, just what this thing does ultimately is it just takes pictures with a web interface, and then it uploads as images to ChatGPT and tells me what's going on in from ChatGPT, and I get the response. And so this is the physical part is about half the story. The other half is actually in the software and the web server itself. And so yeah, that's all I really have. Yeah, any questions? Yeah, you pay for each request, but it's like a tenth of a penny. It's like super cheap. And you also have the ChatGPT Mini 4.0, and that's really super cheap, and it seems to really work for my purposes. So it's really cheap, and so yeah. And I also get to actually save those responses to the image that I upload, so I can still go back to that response. So it's kind of like response caching. So you only pay for it once. So yeah. Anything else?
You gonna show us some results sometime?
Maybe. I don't know. I'll see what I can do. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
So what was the name of the other one?
Oh, Pictosaurus?
Is it kaput?
Yeah, it's pretty well kaput. Like, I think this is functionally a better design. I know Pictosaurus is probably a little bit cooler. You know, it's popsicle sticks and Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
But I was going for more functionality than coolness, so here we go. So, yeah. So, anything else? Sweet. Thanks.
I'm not sure if there will be another itineration, but if there is, please share that too, as the project evolves. Let's go to some sewing stuff. Thea?
So this project started because I was frustrated. I wanted to make a petticoat and this type of lace that you'll see along the hemline a lot, called broderie anglaise or eyelet lace, is getting harder and harder to find. So I decided that I'm just gonna embroider my own. Wait, it's fairly repetitive and it's not complicated, it's just time consuming. But you need a lot of white cotton thread and patience, and that's really all it takes once you trace out your pattern. But I didn't want to take my entire embroidery kit everywhere I'm going with my project. So I found these on Pinterest. It holds just the thread and the sewing needle. So I decided to make one. The first attempt was over-engineered. I made the assembly more complicated than it needed to be, and I chose a very durable exterior fabric, but it's holding sewing thread. It's not running around in the parking lot by itself. So this one took me a full 3 hours to assemble after I cut the pattern out. And because of the way I assembled the end pieces, it ended up taking up more space out of the pattern, and you can see the gapping, and I wasn't happy with it. So I made one simple change in how I assembled it, and this was attempt number 2. It only took 2 hours on Saturday. So we cut the time by a third just in changing how the end circles were assembled. And so it's the exact same thing. That'll be, I'm doing a cathedral window block quilt that I've been working on for a couple of years. And I'll end up needing a second one of the brown thread versus the white thread. So, even embroiderers over-engineer things.
What are the ends made of?
Yeah. Getting there. The whole thing, go out one more. You do an outer fabric and an inner fabric and your interfacing. On this one, I did a thick craft interfacing, which was overkill and it doesn't really fold over as well. This one, I just used a heavyweight sewing interfacing and it was perfect. So you end up with 3 pieces of that, 1 piece of your felt, this is your template. And again, it just had inner fabric and outer fabric. And then on this one, I cut interfacing of this. Sewed the interfacing to the lining, turned it inside out, and then sewed those pieces together over one piece of cardboard, cut in a smaller diameter. When I went to this one, I skipped that step completely. This is your inner fabric and your outer fabric, glued to a piece of cardboard, and then you just whip stitch the two dimes together. And you end up doing one seam instead of 3 for each end piece. So the answer to your question is, this is fabric over cardboard to keep it stiff. And it's actually got 2 pieces of cardboard, inner and outer. So I'll pass them around and you guys can take a look. And it's simple if you only need like 1 piece mending kit. And it does come, these days they make a clear sewing thread that's basically really fine fishing line. So you don't have to worry about color matching anymore either. So, any questions?
Oh, that was great. Next up, we have a Viking helmet by Jeremy. I'm curious, is this for Halloween or a cost? Reenactments. Wow.
I don't think I should set this on there. I'll hold it for a second though. Yeah, it's gonna be too far to. I have pictures of most of the process of making it, so. It's stainless steel, 14 gauge. I just use the plasma cutter to cut most of it out. So that, you can barely see, there's a piece right there. That is, sorry, that is this piece right here. Then I used, that helps. There we go. The roller in the machine shop to roll it into a circle. And then welded that. And then kind of pushed it into an oval. Then that's the top piece. I used, again, I used the roller to make a half circle. And then there's like a stump with a dish in it, which I used to make it curve this way while it curved this way. I don't have pictures of that, but you can kind of see how it's got the curvature here.
That isn't blood, is it?
No, that's just the reflection of the welding blind behind me. And then this is the first of these pieces, which that's plasma cut, and then I just a lot of hammering until it fit just right. I keep hitting that microphone. There's another piece. Like I said, just keep on shaping it till it fits right. And those are clamps made to just hold in each of these rivet holes. And there it is, riveted. And that's the ocular, this front piece. That's it cleaned up after the plasma cut. And then again, I used the roller and to make it have this curve. And then that's I actually had 2 of these. I ended up going with the slightly bigger one. This is just an Aventel. I bought this because I don't hate myself enough to make that. That would take forever. And then this is, because we actually do full contact, it's got to have protection underneath. So yeah. It didn't have to look pretty though, because it's going under the chainmail. That's why it's not polished like the rest of it is. Now I think that's all of it. So, well, I have one of it done for anyone who's not here. Yeah. So that's it. Done. Which, I mean, I don't have it padded yet, but. Have it said it like that. Yeah. Any questions?
Do you have I don't know what you call it, ribbing or like a safety helmet?
Have you ever seen that black closed-celled foam that like pipe fitters use and stuff around pipes, called Armorflex. We use that type of foam. So it'll be about 1 inch on top and about a 1/2 inch everywhere else. So, anyone else?
Yeah, what is the material of the rivets?
That's,
They look a different color.
they're copper. They're just decorative. It's all welded on the inside. For what we do, we're not allowed to use copper as structural. We could brass or steel or stainless, but not. So that's what they're just there for. It's supposed to be a clinker style. It's supposed to look like the Viking ships the way they would have done their overlapping pieces. So that's where the style came from.
How long did that make?
About 50 hours probably. This is the 5th one. I'm getting pretty decently fast at it. So. So we do full contact. We use rattan weapons, which is like bamboo but solid. Actually had brought it up for another guy. It's kind of hard to see on here, but yeah. Some of them have 12,000 people and about 3,000 fighters, some of the events. The biggest one does, I should say. So this is just a bunch of short clips on YouTube of fighters. But yeah, it's a good stress relief. Get to hit people. This being stainless and how much overlapping, it shouldn't. If they manage to put a dent in this, then the guy they hit is probably going to need to go to the hospital, to be honest, because it's overlaps a good bit. And, yeah. The organization has been around since the 60s, so they've got insurance. It's a nonprofit. There's 100,000 members worldwide. It's anywhere that's that you can vote your leaders in has a group. Yeah, even China has some groups, but yeah. Oh yeah, so I used on a grinder. I had a 100 grit. No, I think I had 180, and then 400, and 600 grit. Did them all individually before I put them together, and then there's the polishing wheel. I did 2 different types of polishing compound. It was shinier than this, but over the time of me working on it to rivet, I've kind of scratched it a little bit. But I wear chainmail. This is actually for a friend. I have Roman style armor, so they had somewhat minimum compared to say medieval times. So a lot of my armor is hidden under my clothes. Like I've got plastic elbow cups that go under my tunic and stuff. But yeah, there's a minimum armor requirement, but the head's the only thing that you really have to have a lot of protection on. So. I mean, it's all honor system for what we do. So if you get hit hard enough, you say you're good. If you're in the middle of a battle, you can't get out, you just follow down and cover yourself with your shield. If you can get out, you get out to the back. So,
You make a shield?
Yeah, most people make their own shields. That's a lot easier than a helmet. That's just plywood and some leather edging and maybe some paint.
How much does it weigh?
I've not weighed it. If I had to guess, this is on the heavier end because this adds a lot of weight. Now, a lot of this sits on your shoulders, like I said, but this is probably 12 pounds. My I find ends, I think 9. This one's pretty heavy. I probably could have gone 16 gauge on some of the other stuff, but it's for a big guy, so he'll get over it. Just means he'll be slower and easier for me to hit. So, anyone else? You want to pass it around?
It's up to you, or have it out in arts and crafts for people to come and wait.
It's heavy. Just don't drop it.
Yeah. Well, maybe it should be. All right. For something less violent, maybe, let's go for a print-in-place quick clamp from Ryan.
All right, been a minute. So I had a larger project going on, and it ended up I had about 100 different pieces that needed to be glued up. And it was over a weekend, and I didn't have any clamps with me. So I decided to try and make my own clamp on a printer. I didn't really like what I was finding online. So I decided there was no way that this was going to lead me down some large rabbit hole that took many hours to complete. And I ended up with this guy. Yeah. So this has been many iterations to actually get this right, because it's a fairly polished thing. There's not a lot of fat on it. So this is a singular print. You print it as one. Well, it's two pieces, but one is held captive by its various features. And what you end up with is something where you can clamp something down pretty well. And then when you're done, you can push the button and it springs open, and all is well. What else? So the nice thing about this particular design is there's no hardware involved. There's no springs. There are no screws. The clamping force is provided by the compliance of this edge here, and the pawl here is controlled by this piece here, which in later iterations has been made thicker. But what that means is that this is purely a compliant mechanism and can be scaled to whatever size you'd like. You can either take this design and just do the iPad thing where you just boop and just scale it up to 200%, and now you have a 200% bigger clamp. Or you can take the end here and cut it longer or shorter, and you'll end up with more or less mouth to it. There are certain parameters in the model that you can change in order to make this work. So it's taken me far too long to get to this point, but what I've ended up with is this piece, which takes about 15 minutes to print and about 11 cents worth of material to actually get a fully functional clamp. So I thought at the time I threw it up on 3D print and wasn't really ready to share the files. I think I am now, so I'm going to toss the CAD up on the 3D printing page once I can verify that the latest is actually the improvement that I think it is. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with how it's come out. Any questions?
Could you hold it up just so we get an idea of the size?
Yeah, you can, like I say, you can make it any size that you want. I have so this was on a, this one was kind of limited by just what you could do with a 0.4 millimeter standard nozzle, but I also have a 0.2 millimeter nozzle, and I'm really tempted to see just how teeny tiny I can make the thing. Just stupid tiny, like something that would fit on, like you'd have to look at a microscope to see it. So, yes.
I understood you to say that there's not much fat in the design, but it was an aesthetic choice for the curlicues, or
The curlicues, we're talking about this guy?
that, and what's visible from the other side, the part at the upper right.
That is not an aesthetic choice. That is entirely functional. The purpose of that is that as you clamp this down here, the energy that's actually providing the constant springiness to it, that's wanting to retract, is this action here. Now, there's two things happening right here, where one is, this is the piece that you use to pinch it closed, and the second is that it moves that hinge out of the way and provides more flexure area, so you get more compliance. By the same token, this hinge here is curly in order to go from here and have this be our spring that allows this to be pushed back in place, retracting this guy over here, actuating on the pawls. So one of the trickier things about this is to get your tolerances right as you are printing it, so that this piece that travels under this piece will not get stuck, and at the same time, this piece that is also captive will not stick. So that's just a matter of how finely tuned your printer is. But yeah, pretty much everything on here has a purpose, except there's a little bit of area here that doesn't really need to be there. I could put a little bit of featuring there and save a little bit of plastic. But then I wouldn't have the name tag here, which doesn't really show up, but the name of the clamp is the Clampadre. It's the Clampadre. Yeah, about half of the effort on this project was workshopping that name. That's right.
Well, I do like it, although it is a clamp and not a blank. So it's still
Yep.
So would you give him a C?
That's C from that. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take passing. Anyone else? All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan. Next up, we have Ray. And Ray's got a solderless breadboard power supply.
A Viking helmet and the Clampadre. Those are hard acts to follow, you guys. Wow, nice. Nice. I want to do both of those classes, by the way. So what I've got is just a little project that I did. I don't know, one night you're sitting around saying I need to do a project, and I did one of these to do a build class. So this is actually a class that we're offering next week here in the zone. There are still a few tickets left, by the way. So a little printed circuit board design. That's just a handy power supply to power these solderless breadboards. So this is a breadboard that you can just insert components quickly into it. Each of these holes has like a spring kind of holding mechanism that clamps into whatever you stick in there. So you can take resistors, integrated circuits, capacitors, and things and shove them in here and quickly prototype some circuit that you want to play with. One of the challenges with that is always you have to bring in power for it, a battery, a power supply, or something, and hook it up and fiddle with it. We've all got different ways that we tackle this. This is a really nice, convenient solution. This part unplugs from that. You just plug it in. On the back side here, there's both a USB-C and a USB micro connector. Whichever one I have on my board is not the adapter I have laying on the bench. Right? I'm trying to convert to USB-C. I have a lot of micros laying around. So it has both of those. You can plug either one in. And then there's a selector switch for either side. So on each side of this breadboard, you can run a power supply on one side and on the other. There's a selector switch, so you can run 5 volts or 3.3 volts on either of these, right? So you can wire up your thing with your 3.3 volt supply. You can accidentally hook it to 5 volts and blow it up. That's the other thing they'll probably do with it. Anyway, it's super handy, kind of a fun little project. You can buy things like this on Amazon, of course, but in the maker spirit, we always spend more time and money making it than it costs to buy it. So, so if you're a rail maker, yeah, join us in class next week. And if you have any questions, we'll answer them during class. All right. All right. Thank you.
Great plug for the class, Ray. So that's the end of the list, but I think we have somebody back there with another share. The young woman? No? Okay. Well, come on up.
So a couple weeks ago, a group of us went and did a camping trip, and trying to get a fire started was a much larger pain than I would have hoped for. So I remember this old thing I made back in Boy Scouts, and I went ahead and made another batch of them this last weekend. In Boy Scouts, we called them firebugs. So here's me lighting it on a piece of concrete, and this is gonna, let me show this at 2x speed. So these are a little simple fire starter, and it runs for a good 5 minutes. I'll leave that running as I show some pictures of how they're made. So if you've ever been to the store and you've seen these boxes of Gulf wax, you'll probably see them in the canning aisle or some of the other stuff. So that's just paraffin wax, candle wax. And essentially, this is just 3 strike anywhere matches, 1 square of toilet paper, and a bit of yarn dipped into paraffin wax. It essentially turns the entire thing into a large candle wick. Strike anywhere matches are handy because they're strike anywhere, but you run into the issue that most strike anywhere matches are not waterproof. So, let's see. I'm going to turn the lights down. No, that doesn't really help. So just taking the matches, you end up with a sheet of toilet paper that you fold in quarters and then wrap in a spiral. If you can kind of see that on here, it starts with just like the very corner, and you kind of wrap it at a spiral so it gets thicker as it goes back. The goal is to have just the tiniest bit of toilet paper right where the match heads are, so when it's lights on all three of them kind of burn into each other, it kind of starts it and then it just kind of grows bigger. As you can kind of see in the video, that's a bit of a roaring flame. That's 3 minutes in, and that's still burning like that. So it's a very good way to start a fire when you're on a camping trip. Like I said, the paraffin wax makes it all waterproof. The oddest thing for me is when it's done burning, it kind of stays intact. All the ashes are kind of still bound together. But yeah, as far as materials, this takes about $10 was what it took to make the entire bag of 100. And it takes about an hour just to have the wax melt before you can start dipping, and then maybe 2 hours of dipping to make the whole bag. I did find that dipping them in the wax and holding them down until the bubbles stop, then taking them out, dipping them in water, and doing 2 more dips in wax, and then setting to the side was a good process to keep it going quickly and give it a nice coating of wax and everything. It burns better the more wax you have in it. As with most candles, the wax is what's actually burning, and the wick is just giving a small area for the wax to wick into to be able to actually burn. So this is just a giant candle wick, essentially. So it only burns for a few minutes, but it burns very strongly. Well, since it's done burning now, I think I'll end my presentation.
That's great. Thank you. So is there any more shares? Anyone else? Okay, we'll go on to the next part of the program, which is announcements. I already talked a little bit about new members onboarding tonight, which is going to follow this after a brief intermission. And then we can go on to classes. Tomorrow is the Intro to Digital Signal Processing, and that starts at 6:30, and it's focused on image and sound filtering. Then Thursday night, another Intro to Electronics class at 6:30. On Saturday, 9:28, we have small alterations or mending with the machine, and I, for one, am going to be there. Thea will be leading it because I know I've lost some weight, so now these pants are a bit big, but as a result of the weight I gained, I have a little hole on the side there, which I hope to now put in pockets, because pockets are so useful to have on pants. And what a better way to come, and maybe, I know especially for women's pants, not so much men's, the pockets are really shallow, so you can't put a phone in them, they're always full. We can show you how to extend those pockets longer. So I'd highly encourage you to get a ticket, even if you have a pair of pants that the pockets aren't long enough for you as it is now. Along with other things, there's zippers for coats, getting them sewed back in. It's a great class. And then the following week is another electronics class, Build a Power Supply, which you saw a teaser for that tonight from Ray. And just to say, October is busy, busy, busy. Just about every weekend there's something going on here. October 5th, we're going to have a cleaning day. So please volunteer your time. We start at 10 until 2. We're going to do some cleaning, getting ready for what happens on October 12th? Market, yeah! Yes, we want the place nice and clean for everyone touring. And so as we're talking about the market, we're going to need volunteers. So Russell, can you speak to us about some volunteer opportunities?
I will do it.
Oh, and maybe even plug some sort of competition you're holding?
Something's going on. Doesn't have anything to do with clamps, though. We need your help, so please keep an eye on the All Members channel for things as they come up. On October 12th, since we're having a market at night, that gives us the day to get ready. So please, if you can help at all, even if you can't come to the market, if you can lend an hour or two, or if you can stay for the duration, that would be great. We would appreciate it. So we'll be starting here sometime around lunchtime to get ready. We've got lights to hang, we've got the parking lot to paint, there's a lot of stuff to do. So let me know. There's a sheet on the table you can sign up for. I know a lot of people don't like to write their names down, but that's okay. You can message me, let me know what you're going to do. And as we get more and more opportunities, I'll post those and remind you. The time is now that I will be reminding you quite frequently and probably even aggravating you. So,
Is there a channel in Mattermost?
is there a what? Channel, there might be a channel. Yes, join the, what's the name, the exact name of that channel? Does anybody know? I don't know. Maker Market, Knox Makers Market. Join that channel. Aliki will appreciate it. Aliki will as well be making notes there, I would think. And we really appreciate all the work she's been putting into this. Yes, we do. Yes. Yeah. We are at the point of not having to, but we have the opportunity to let everybody we know about the Maker Market. There are flyers available. Grab a flyer. You can download it from Mattermost. You can grab some from the table in hospitality. Let everybody you know about the market. If you have any connections with any media, let them know. Just spread the word. Please spread the word. One exciting thing that will happen at the market is it's a lamp makers challenge. So if you make a lamp, you can enter it into the challenge. People at the market will be able to vote on the lamps as well as the membership here. Thank you, Neil, for helping me put the details on that together. He did a great job on the lightsaber hilt challenge. So we got a lot going on. We need you. We appreciate you. So let's all join in and make this the best market ever, okay? All right, let's do it. All right.
Yeah, I'm especially jazzed about the lamp challenge. In fiber arts, as you can imagine, we have a lot of spools of empty thread. So my lamp is going to be constructed using empty spools of thread. So think about things you have around the house that you can make into a lamp. Let's light it up. Also at the market, we're going to have the mystery machine, the baubles. We need more bauble volunteers. So this is about 2 inches. We'd like to have a variety of things to put in the baubles. The public will then be able to put in, I believe it's 50 cents, and purchase one. And it's been a big hit in the past markets. So I encourage you to maybe make something for those. We also have, and I'm really excited for this, a full-blown kill switch. That means weapons of destruction. We have fire, we have saws, we have hammers. It makes the cardboard competition we had look like baby stuff, and I love that. I would so like to be in the full-blown market. If that's something you're interested in participating in, there is a sign-up sheet for it, and if you would like information on how to build a robot, John Dale put on some classes. You can contact John Dale. And after all that fun, we need a bit of a reprieve. So Saturday the 19th is going to be Stitch and Bitch. But you know, what could be scarier than a bunch of people sitting around yapping? Well, it's got to be the Halloween Spook Show. Yeah, we're going to have Halloween movies. Everybody come. We're going to have some food. Please RSVP on the website so the host knows how much food to provide. And I believe we're going to have kid movies or PG-13 movies, early on, and turning to the scarier adult version, blood, hardcore chainsaw massacre type later in the evening. I don't know what is in store. Isaac is our master there. But yeah, so we have all that going on. But in the meantime, we got to talk about the shop, trying to get it ready for the market. There's a lot of equipment and projects, or maybe even future project stuff laying around the shop, and it just seems to keep multiplying. So please put your name and contact information on it and a date when you plan on having it gone. We'd really like to start getting rid of anything that is not spoken for and get the shop cleaned up. Speaking of keeping it clean, what about air filters? I didn't check as I came in to see if the ones in Bay 2 need changing, but if you would like to volunteer to change those filters, that would be awesome. Also, the jet filters over in the wood shop will need changing. And if you see a trash can that's full, take it out to the dumpster, please. The cleaning crew does a really good job emptying, but sometimes they miss some. And I think they've been forgetting about fiber arts back there. But yeah, so I'll be taking that one out. Is there anything else, Wes?
There's 2 more filters in metal.
That's right. Thank you. We do now have some filtering back in the metalworking area above the welding tables. So those need to be changed too, and those are the same size as the jet filters, if I remember correctly. I hope so, because that's what I ordered for them. Okay, a little maneuvering, yeah, okay. Yeah.
The same brand and model was bought, but the company name was different size.
Oh, a little manufacturer's tolerance different. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So in the meantime, let's take a short break. And if you want to do new members onboarding, please come back in here after break. And the rest of us can go out and start making. Thank you for coming.